We here at Dr. Walls and Friends, along with Sisters in Harmony and the Peace and Love Foundation, have taken a stance against domestic violence. For those of you who need help, and for those of you who are interested in helping someone who may be affected by domestic violence, we encourage you to call the National Domestic Violence Hotline, and that number is 1-800-799-7233. 1-800-799-7233. That's here in the United States. In the UK, that number is 0808 2000 247. Again, that's 0808 2000 247. In Australia, that number is 1-800-737-732. Again, that's 1-800-737-732. For worldwide, you can visit the International Directory of Domestic Violence Agencies. Again, that's the International Directory of Domestic Violence Agencies, and that will provide you with a global list of helplines. We understand that domestic violence is something that takes place on a global level, and we here at Dr. Walls and Friends, Sisters in Harmony, and the Peace and Love Foundation are standing with you to stand against domestic violence. Welcome back to Dr. Walls and Friends. And as you know, today is a day of healing and a day of helping. And whenever we're talking about abuse or traumatic events, what I have found, and as I talk to others as well, is that writing, poetry, drama, as far as theater is concerned, legitimate drama, not creating drama for drama's sake, but the creative arts tends to be a help and a healing for them. And so at this time, we're going to be joined by another poet, a local favorite, and I have to say one of my mother's favorites. She just always says, oh, he can play that piece for me all the time. Joining us right now is Marcus G. Williams III. Come on up, Marcus.
It's always nice to be in a room where you know you have at least one thing.
That's right.
I'm going to open with this piece because one, it's very powerful. Two, this whole message is very powerful. And I think some of the things that the panelists have said, domestic violence is a silent killer. And it's a silent killer because we don't want to talk about it. People don't want to share about it. People feel embarrassed about it. People feel ashamed about it. And the other thing that resonated with me is how kids see everything. And I run mentoring programs. I work with a lot of foster children. A lot of foster children are subjects of domestic violence, whether directly or their parents have been affected, and that splits up the home. So this particular piece is going to cover all of that at one time. And hopefully, as you hear these words and they resonate with your spirit, you'll really start to pick up and understand just how impactful this is and what we need to do to make a difference. So this is called Every Closed Eye. It is with eyes wide shut and ears listening intently to deafening silence. These were the tools I used to drown out your life-changing violence. While you did things to those around me as I sat playing sleep, it was waking to teary-eyed pillows and let me know what you were doing when you creaked. Muffled screamed into pillows while pinned down, scared every move was a hitter. Made sitting across from you at a morning breakfast painful, and the juice ever so bitter. Wondering the whole time how folks ignored the signs, figuring everyone knew. Bow-legged strides, feigning trying to be cool, cause didn't know what else to do. Wanting to scream so loud at anyone who would listen to your acts of disgrace, but in reality barely spoke above a whisper, trying to blend into every quiet space. Hoping beyond hope that someone would finally catch on, so that when we got home from school, all your things would be gone. Dry tear track lined my face, too frustrated to any longer wipe them away. Knowing what you were doing to her when you told me to go outside and play. I grew bigger and stronger, fueled by hate and rage, waiting for my chance to come. And when it did, I hit you with all I had. till I collapsed, no more breath left in my lungs. You never saw it coming, figured I'd stay too scared to act and not grow beyond frail. But I ended all that torment that fateful day, finally listening to your pain's wail. When the smoke finally cleared, there was no one left to tell the tale. The curtain finally drawn on your lifetime of torture and marital betrayal. My lawyer fought a good fight, but enduring my acts was inevitable. Though he fought hard, it was just to no avail. And though I no longer have my freedom, I know justice did prevail. And now I find I sleep quite peacefully at night and enjoy her Sunday visits to my jail. Now her life can go on because you're no longer around to take the wind out of her sails.
Thank you. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you. All right, so we have learned several different pieces of information here so far, and one thing that Janine keeps bringing up, which is important, are the psychological effects. When we talk about domestic violence, there are long-term and short-term effects that happen, and as Herman, and I'm going to have him speak first, as he talked about, his sister was murdered over 25 years ago at this point. I just don't want to believe 1985 was that long ago. So, you know, I'm still trying to do the WAP and the Cabbage Patch like it's a sound. All right. And do the prep. All right. So, tell us about some of the long-term effects. And actually, you know what? Before we go there, I want you to talk, because when we first met, we started talking about warning signs. And I want you to talk about and teach people about some of the warning signs, and any additional panelists that would like to chime in on that. And then we'll come and talk about the long-term effects. Okay?
Just things that I noticed as a teenager. Like I mentioned earlier, my sister wearing sunglasses, heavy makeup. Women that I work with put their hair in their face. Short conversations, not giving you eye-to-eye contact, not coming around as much, because that's one thing an abuser does, is he wants to disconnect you from everybody, family, friends, especially when he knows that you have a connection. You know, he'll begin to say how they're no good to hang with. You know, you need to watch them. You know, when he's talking about your family and friends, your loved ones, your close people, you should pay attention to that. You know, why is he saying these things? Where are these things coming from? You know, those are the things that I noticed as a young age, and then, like I said, the older that I get, the things that I've noticed with a lot of women that I know that's dealing with domestic violence today.
Okay. Rosa, how about you? Some signs?
Yes. He wants to change your way of dressing. Mine was, he's a prep. I'm not a prep. Do I look like a prep? No. The man had me wear penny loafers, these fugly lawn plaited skirts. I never dressed like that. He did isolate me from my parents and my family. I am the youngest child of 9, and I love my parents. But my mother would say, I know something's going on, but you won't speak. And I was so ashamed. I was so ashamed. I couldn't tell my parents. It was too late when the retinal detachment happened. It was just too late. You know, everyone thought he was the greatest. He was called the golden child of the Philadelphia Police Department. But there is something I need to ask. Where do we go? Where's the shelters for wives of police officers? Because there is no help for me. Not even the legal system could help me. No courts could help me. I survived, but no courts will listen to my cries. He is now chief of police in Lancaster, PA. Please. Where do we go? I mean, this is great that our city is having a new shelter, but that's just more bodies who are afraid. I mean, we have to be realistic here. But where do we go? I have women from Kentucky, from Australia reaching out to me. I had one woman who said thank you because she decided to get a restraining order from her deputy commissioner husband cop. We are afraid because we have nowhere to go. We have nowhere to go. I'm always still watching my back, but I refuse. And when someone asks me, what advice I can give you? Run. Just run. Don't think he's going to change, because he's not. He or she will not change. Just run. Don't look back. Like I said, I'm one of the lucky ones. There are so many women or police officers who have died. If you go to this website, Behind the Blue Wall, you will see how many women, men, and children have been killed by their fathers or mothers who are police officers. So I ask this question again: where do we go? Where do we go for help? When our courts know these officers, when they're high-ranking officers on the police department, when they know the DA or they know the judges, where do we go? Somebody please tell me, because I need to tell my sisters and brothers out there who are hiding and asking me, where can we go? Thank you.
You know, there's a couple pieces that Rosa brought up, and I want to just highlight and tap into that. Oftentimes it gets overlooked that men are also victims of abuse as well. Physical, emotional, verbal. And we have to recognize that. As a doctor of clinical psychology, many times people will call me from all over the world, and that's the other piece that you mentioned. That domestic violence is not just something here in Philadelphia. It's not just something here in the United States. It is something that happens worldwide. One of the differences is, though, many times there's not a name for it in other cultures. And so, therefore, there's not the understanding that it's not okay. So when people are able to see events like this on YouTube, when they're able to hear radio talk shows, when they're able to recognize and say, wait a minute, I'm not supposed to be treated like this. Many times this is the first step, the step for awareness. I mean, I remember watching things on Merv Griffin, I'm giving away my age now, on Merv Griffin and, okay. And I'm trying to remember, who was the other one? Phil Donahue? Yeah, now I'm really giving it away. Okay, don't let the baby face fool you, y'all. So, you know, but it's hearing these things that are educating us. And so we have to understand that domestic violence is something, one, that happens worldwide. Many times it is hidden, and that it happens with women, but it also happens with men. Now, if it happens with women, how many men do you know are going to come forth and talk about the abuse that they're experiencing? So we have to be aware of these signs, as Herman was talking about, isolating people from their family, you know, a change in behavior, criticizing them openly in public, not accepting responsibility for their behavior, downplaying the abuse. These are all different signs that we need to be aware of. Like I said, wearing the sweaters, wearing the sunglasses at odd times. We have to pay attention to that. Not giving the direct eye contact. Being short in the conversation. When you know that something is wrong and the person keeps saying, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm good for calling people out. I'll be like, when you're ready to stop lying to me to answer my question. All right? And sometimes we have to be that bold and upfront. As Mary was talking about, the village, making sure that we step in. We have to be aware of the fact that now with cell phones, there's tracking devices. There's GPS